We are another day removed from the end of the college basketball season, and with that comes another day of a high level NBA draft prospect declaring for the NBA draft. Today, Egor Demin out of BYU, a true 50-50 player in terms of what was believed if he was going to come back to school and go to BYU for his sophomore season or declare for the NBA draft. This is a player that has been projected in the lottery for a good bulk of this season, top 5, top 10 discussion as well, and he could be a potential fit for the Philadelphia 76ers if their ping pong balls fall in their favor and they get the 5th or 6th overall pick in the draft. Egor Demin's name is a prospect that I assume will be in the running and be discussed for a potential fit on the Sixers roster next year. Demin, a 6'9 freshman from Russia, an international player, comes to BYU for one season, a one and done. Personally, I would have been in the camp to kind of go back for another year. I think BYU is going to be an awesome team next year, probably top 10, maybe even top 5 to start the year. And I think he really could have kind of showcased his game with some more talent around him. But he decides to kind of buy high on his stock right now, feels comfortable that he's going to be a lottery pick, and he declares for the draft as a one and done. And Demin, as we said, a international prospect coming over from Russia, so not that well known kind of in the high school ranks. He wasn't a highly touted player, coming in unless you have good eyes on the international scene. But a 6'9" like point guard, that's the thing that kind of makes him an interesting player. Can he develop to maybe a wing one day? Yes, but I think he's going to have to significantly improve his shooting. But at 6'9", great feel for the game with the ball in his hands. You see it here from Jonathan Gavoni tweeting it out the other day after he declared 6'9", Egor Demin displays high-level talent and feel for the game that are difficult to come by at only 18 years old. That's the most impressive thing. I think you can say his feel combined with his age. He's mature beyond his years on the court right now. Picks apart the pick and roll defenses with outstanding court vision and creativity, playing some of his best basketball in the NCAA tournament. We saw BYU in some really good games and some really entertaining games in this year's NCAA tournament. One of the higher scoring matchups in the entire tournament against Alabama. Wisconsin was a great game as well. And then in that 6-11 game against, sorry for forgetting that off the top of my head, but one of the more impressive kind of runs from some of these freshmen. A lot of these high level freshmen, besides Cooper Flagg, didn't really make an impact on the tournament or make the tournament at all. You look at Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, probably or not even in the NCAA tournament. A guy like Trey Johnson was in the playing game. That was it. Egor Demin showed up and showed out in the tournament. I think might have kind of raised some eyebrows. He did have some tough games against stronger competition in the Big 12 throughout the year. But as we said, this is an 18-year-old kid, a pretty raw prospect, still kind of growing into his game. To come over from overseas and adjust to the American way of basketball a little bit more so in just 6 months, 8 months, whatever it kind of was throughout his time on the BYU campus. I was very impressed by him, and I think I'm a little bit higher on him than others. When you look at Luka when he was coming over, and I'm by no means comparing these two players, skill, overall game and skill set. I'm not saying Egor Demin is a Luka type of player, but when you watch Egor play, kind of just turn on the highlights, turn on the film. He has that pace, that way about him. It's just that international style that Luka kind of displayed when he was overseas playing as well. He just kind of comes in and plays at his own pace. He's under control, and I don't think he's going to let things get sped up. His athleticism isn't that great. He's not the strongest. He's going to have to do some things in that regard to fix his game, but it's an interesting potential fit on this Sixers squad. When we talk about the Sixers roster and talking about kind of, all right, if they do get this pick, who are they looking to target? We've talked about Cooper Flagg. We've talked about Malawach. We've talked about Con Knipple. We've talked about Trey Johnson, Derek Queen, Jace Richardson. I think Egor Demin is a really interesting fit. As we said now, a 6'9 playmaker with the ball in his hands. Does he have a true position? I don't know. You want to call him a point guard? You want to call him a wing? Let that kind of develop and happen over time. What I know is he's a basketball player, and that's one of my favorite things about him, and I really like about prospects. If they don't have, and I know some people will knock this, but if they don't have like an elite trait, if they don't have like, all right, I know, looking at Con Knipple, he's a knockdown shooter. That's his calling card. That's what's going to get him in the league. You look at a guy like Cooper Flagg, he does everything well, but you can point to some things that he does elite, like defense, rebounding, passing the ball, just overall feel for the game. You look at a guy like Ace Bailey, his scoring is elite. Egor Demin, I don't really think has an elite overall skill set, but I think he's a damn good basketball player. And two of his comparisons here from Yahoo Sports, Josh Giddey and Anthony Black. Anthony Black has got better in year 2 than he was in year 1. Certainly, I'm excited to see if he makes a year 3 leap. Josh Giddey even had a really nice year this year. I think for the Bulls, he played some really good basketball down the stretch. But just two good, well-rounded basketball players. Like you look at Demon's stats, very well-rounded, 5.6 assists for a 6'9" freshman. That's pretty impressive work right there. If Egor Demin's a guy that's able to come in and average 11 points while he gets his shot off the ground and continues to develop that. 5 or 6 assists, 4 rebounds. Like, that's a guy that's going to help you win basketball games. And for a team like the Sixers, when you look at their kind of perspective, two small guards in the backcourt and Jared McCain and Tyrese Maxey. Is that going to work out long term? Quentin Grimes adds another wrinkle in that with his kind of 6'4", 6'5" frame. But then you have a 6'9" guy back there. Add some more size out on the court. A guy that's going to be able to rebound. A guy that's going to be able to guard probably some bigger players, some longer players. He's going to have to bulk up and improve some of that athleticism if he's going to defend wings. But, for a guy to maybe come in off the bench behind Paul George and kind of play that role, I thought one thing that Paul George really did well this year, if you want to point to something, was his distributing and his playmaking for others. I think Egor Demin's a guy that can come in and he can play with everyone. I think that's a really kind of exciting thing about him. So he's a prospect that certainly, raised my eyebrows throughout the year. He's projected he's got a wide range right now. I've seen him like pick 8 to 14 kind of range. So picking at 5 or 6 for the Sixers might be a little bit of a stretch, but he's a player that I think could rise throughout the process just because he's so young. And for some of the things that he was able to do as a freshman in the Big 12 this year, not many guys are able to just roll out of bed and roll onto the court and do what he did. So I'm very high on Egor Demin. I would be a fan if the Sixers did find a way to get him on the squad. You look at kind of the big board and from Tankathon and some other players in his ballpark, like Jace Richardson, Jeremiah Fears. Are those two guys that I would necessarily want to target for the Sixers roster? Probably not. I would definitely side more towards a guy like Egor Demin with his size and his playmaking ability. Because right now, the Sixers got scores. If you want to say one thing about them at the guard spot, they've got scores. They got more than what they expected, I think, out of Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes not going to be a guy averaging 25 a game going forward like he did on some of these runs for the Sixers. But he's a guy that showed the ability to put the ball in the basket. Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain have shown us the ability to put the ball in the basket. Joel Embiid, when he's on the floor, the ability to put the ball in the basket. Paul George, not the same scorer that he used to be, but can put the ball in the basket. Let's get a guy like Egor Demin out there that is going to rebound, that is going to distribute the ball, and that's going to play make, most importantly, for these scorers. Take more pressure off of guys like McCain and Maxey to play make and put some of that more pressure and put it on Demin's plate. He's a playmaking savant, I think, from day one in the NBA. Flashy passes, able to pick apart the pick and roll. You look at some of the other guys like Kasparas Yakichonis, probably a higher level Demin. Not as tall, but he can shoot the ball better, and I think more kind of NBA ready from day one. He's a guy I would probably look to target over him if he wasn't selected. But in terms of kind of some of these guards like Fears, Richardson, we already kind of have that. Like Dylan Harper is a leap above Jared McCain, I think, probably neck and neck, I'd say, with my evaluation with Tyrese Maxey as of right now. And that's high praise, saying Dylan Harper could be like an all-star. I'm not saying next year, but anytime you're comparing someone to a guard like Tyrese Maxey that's shown the ability to average over 25 points per game in the NBA, that's pretty lofty, high praise. So he's kind of in an elite class of his own, I think, at that guard spot. But from there, like Edgecombe, Yakichonis, Trey Johnson, Jeremiah Fears, Jace Richardson, Egor Demin, these are all guys, it's kind of like interchangeable. Pick your poison. And I know I've said on here before, we're not looking to draft for fit. We're not looking to draft for need, but best talent available. But at the same time, I'm going to put that best talent available and try and make that work with the roster. And you get a taller player to kind of make up for some of these deficiencies in the height department with Tyrese Maxey, with Jared McCain, and a guy that can play make. Get the ball to some of these weapons. Get a guy that can drive and kick to Quentin Grimes. Get a guy that can set up Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain for open looks. Get the ball inside the Joel Embiid. He is a flat-out playmaker, and that's a day one skill set that he's able to contribute. Say what you want about a guy like Josh Giddey, but he is still a guy that's put up triple-doubles in the league, has not really shot the ball that well. He got better at it, I think, as the year kind of went on this year with the Bulls. But I think that trade with the Thunder more so said kind of like how they just feel about guys like SGA and Jalen Williams, and it's just like there might not be a long-term spot here. Let's kind of move him out and bring in a guy like Caruso that's probably a better fit for them. But Josh Giddey, I think, is still a damn good NBA player, and if you're able to get Josh Giddey at pick 5 or pick 6 onto this Sixers roster essentially with a guy like Egor Demin, I'm signing up for that 10 times out of 10 for sure. I'm excited about his playmaking ability, his future in the NBA. He's got to get that 3-point shot better, his outside shot better. But that's kind of the calling card for a lot of these guys coming into the league when they're young. And keep in mind, 18 years old as well. Plenty of time to still develop and get this jump shot moving. But I'm a big fan of Egor Demin and his game. I'm not saying I'm over here, head over heels in love with him, blushing over him, but a prospect I'm a big fan of. And if the Sixers go up to the podium and pick him at number 5 or 6, I'm signing up for that. And another good thing about him with kind of the international background, he's not a guy that's coming from overseas right now. He's from college, so he will be coming right to the NBA next year. A lot of those guys, it's sometimes a risk. Are they going to come over right away? And he is already over here, played in America, played in the Big 12, the second toughest league in the country this season. He's ready to go. I think he's certainly going to need to take some time, has some development stuff behind the scenes, but a player that I'm excited about and I think has a strong future in the NBA and could help the Sixers right away next year, and just in terms of his playmaking ability as he continues to round out his game. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Fan of Egor Demin? Have you even watched him? And some guys might not even heard of him. Some people might not really have watched much BYU basketball. Turn on the highlights. You're going to be very impressed. Sure, they're just going to be showing the good things, but a lot of good passes, rebound, the ability to kind of grab and go off the glass. He's a fun and exciting player that I think would fit with this Sixers roster that they currently have constructed right now. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments below. Are we looking to stay away from guards completely? Do we want to address the front court? As always, please drop a like, drop a subscribe, and we'll be talking to you next time here on Sixers Digest.